They demanded the Game Awards be about Palestine. Wait, what? I mean, I'm not shocked, but what? Let's find out.
Every so often, a gaming news outlet produces something so unintentionally comedic that you sometimes wonder whether it's actually satire. And this week, The Gamer has stepped forward with an article so spectacularly out of touch, it must be written by an individual who hasn't spoken to a normal human being since before lockdown.
I mean, considering that The Gamer is a game journalist outlet, staffed by games journalists, yes, I can actually believe, unironically, that they have not spoken face-to-face with an individual since prior to lockdowns, and they probably live in their little one-bedroom apartment wearing a mask while they write these articles. So, yes, correct.
Apparently, the quiet disappearance of a minor Game Awards category from the yearly corporate farce, one most people couldn't name under the threat of death, is being considered by them as a tragic cultural loss. Reading it, you can practically hear the writer clutching a lace handkerchief while whispering, "Why won't anyone care about this list of corporate diversity managers?" Or
wait, there was a category missing from the Game Awards? Like, what one could it be? Because didn't they still have Games for Change or whatever, or Games for Impact or whatever, like gay fucking category that was? What was missing? I didn't notice, and I cover video games fucking daily.
While at the same time, past nominees from this same class were very publicly insisting that the Game Awards should be repurposed as a platform to, get this, talk about Palestine, demanding that Jeff Keighley halt the show, dim the lights, and deliver a somber monologue about Gaza.
Guys, I'm gonna be real. The Game Awards don't matter, right? They don't. We all know they don't. Game Awards don't matter. If Expedition 33 doesn't win, we riot, right? That's the long and the short of it. However, I kind of want to do this. The grifter in me, the fucking grifter in me wants this to happen. Imagine this lanky schlub motherfucker out here stopping talking about how awesome Silk Song is to tell us you should be really sad that the Muslims are over there getting bombed for raping a bunch of people. I'd be all for it.
So today we're going to take a gentle, slightly amused wander through what was once known as the Game Awards Future Class. Not because it mattered, but because the gaming news outlet known as The Gamer truly, desperately needs it.
What the fuck was the Future Class? Dude, I've been covering the Game Awards for years. I don't even remember this category. What was the Future Class? That literally sounds like a sequel to an X-Men movie.
It to have mattered. More importantly, we'll examine why some people are behaving as though the Nobel Peace Prize is no longer up for grabs, because the outrage doesn't reveal any profound injustice. It reveals the uneasy truth that the performative identity theatre that many have relied on for cultural leverage
Hey,
is
shout out, Niat. How you doing, brother?
losing its audience, and the only thing they're genuinely mourning is the slow, humiliating realization that their influence is evaporating faster than the Game Awards ever cared to pretend it wasn't. I am Lady Decade, and if you'd like to hear all of the spicy gossip from the games industry, then hit that subscribe button, because this is why gaming journalists are erupting with outrage at the Game Awards. And it's every bit as petty and desperate as you might imagine.
You love to see it. Give us more. Give us more outrage. Give us more meltdowns. Like, I want Alyssa Mercante to write another article for Rolling Stone about whatever's going on, the fucking Free Palestine protests in Roblox, even though Roblox is out there grooming fucking children. Give us more. Give it to me now. Shout out Niat. Truly appreciate the 10 banger. It means the absolute world to me, homie.
The modern games press has developed a bizarre little habit of convincing itself that every minor corporate initiative was some profound cultural milestone. They cheer on every new release that arrives, draped in slogans about representation and empowerment. The press, publishers and consultancy class have become part of a racket, a sort of egregious...
Demon Cannibal 5 banger. If they do it, they need a Queers for Palestine banner. If you're gonna do it properly. Take note of the censorship I had to do. Yeah, I did not know that YouTube would censor Palestine. You had to put a fucking apostrophe in there. That's wild. But you're right. If you're gonna do it right. Like bring out what was that dumb broad that's been voice acting for ever that everyone knew was fucking gay. She was in Expedition 33, like Karen English or whatever the fuck her name is. Who cares, right? Have her come out with a Queers for Palestine banner and deliver a speech about how important saving the fucking child raping Muslims are. Yeah, you're right. That would really bring it home.
This moral pyramid scheme where every title has to be sanitized to suit their doctrines and worldviews. But thankfully, not every part of gaming has lost the plot.
What would be even better? Hold on, what would be even better? Is that they did a moment for Palestine and a moment for Israel. Like, hey, we gotta please everybody, right? Let's do a moment for the child raping Muslims, and let's do a moment for the Jewish, the Jewish controllers that are butt fucking America and frankly the rest of the world. Like that would moment of silence for both. Be like, I'm really sad all the Muslims are dying, and you've got like some super Jewish dude come out and be like, I'm really sad all the Jews are dying, and like play it completely straight. Jennifer English, that was her name, Jennifer English. Yeah, that's what I want to see. If you're gonna give us a moment for Palestine, you better give us a moment for Israel as well.
There are still studios out there making games with heart and soul, and even better, I know where you can find them for next to nothing. Use my links to grab massive discounts on Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evilise Chronicles, Silent Hill F with 42% off, Stellar Blade with 39% off, and thousands more. Because if the AAA world insists on treating us like wallets with thumbs, we may as well outsmart.
They should put up a live poll for Israel versus Palestine and make every vote cost 20. Bro, that is a grifter's wet dream.
Them and play something made for fun rather than empty.
I'll do it right now, dude. Next $20 fucking next $20 super chat, and I will make a pro whichever side argument for y'all to clip and share around social media to call me a grifter or whatnot. I will make a pro-Israel or pro-Palestine argument for the next $20 super chat. Just let me know which one you want me to make.
Applause. Now, to understand why today's topic has become a talking point, we should start with the stage it lived on. The Game Awards has, for better or worse, become the biggest circus in gaming, a glossy, bombastic marketing festival where Jeff Keighley stands proudly at the centre, like a very enthusiastic ringmaster, queuing up world premieres, celebrity cameos, and orchestral...
Oh, Adam Reveal says do both! Alright, do both. First of all, 50 banger. I'm gonna give you a clip. We don't normally do clips during the reaction stream because I don't like to break the flow. But for a 50 banger, I'm gonna give you a clip. And I'm gonna give you a good clip. Alright, let's see what we're gonna do. Let's give you some horsecock.
Horse semen's great.
I'm digging horsecock.
Is your cock a horse cock? You will never hear me say it, nay. Ooh, as I take more.
My favorite stallion I keep in my top drawer kinda goes hard though.
Cause there is no cock like horse cock. Send your asshole into shock and eat horse.
I don't know how we're going to ever top horsecock.
Shout out. Alright. We'll do the pro-Palestine one first. Now tell me how you can be siding with Israel. Do you realize, first of all, if you consider yourself a conservative Christian, how can you be siding with Israel? Because the Jews, the fucking cockroaches that live in the sewers under New York City in their little rat caves, they are waging a holy war trying to get the Christian and the Muslim Brotherhood to fight a war against each other while they continue to take over the world. Yeah, you remember Epstein? You remember Jeffrey Epstein? Oh, right, Steen, because he's a Jew. Oh, right, he was in bed with Mossad. How can you be against the death of Palestinian children being murdered by the fucking Zionists? Oh, right, because it's a giant satanic Zionist cabal. Yeah, you're a fake Christian. Yeah, you're not going to go to heaven, all right? You're not going to go to heaven because you're bowing and kowtowing to the wrong God. Muhammad won't save you. Your God won't save you, right? Because you are bowing and kowtowing to whatever that filthy Jewish rat God is. So yeah, there's my thoughts. You filthy fake fucking Christians. Free Palestine. All right, so there's that one. There's that one. All right, now I gotta come up with I'm arousing Hassan. Yeah, stream's about to get shut down. It's a bit, YouTube. It's a bit. Alrighty. Now we gotta do a pro-Israel one. Let me see. Should I do this with Ben Shapiro? America needs an ally in the Middle East, okay? America needs an ally in the Middle East, and Israel is our largest ally in the Middle East. They're the only ones that are actually true to American values, okay? They value freedom. They hate the gays. Also, our law is based on, Christian common law, all right? We've got the Ten Commandments as our basis, and guess what? You wouldn't have gotten that without Judaism. In fact, Judaism is the one true religion. However, we need to unite with our Christian and Jewish brothers and sisters to eradicate the Muslim plague. Do you realize that under the Biden administration, the border was open. And when the border was open, they let in millions and millions of undocumented illegal immigrants. They didn't come from Mexico. They came to the Mexican border. They were actually Muslim jihadists. They were coming here under the guise of Mexicans to infiltrate all our academic circles and turn your children into Muslims. Why? To overthrow the Jewish nation state. In fact, not only do they want to overthrow the Jewish nation state, they want to make sure that the United States never becomes a Jewish nation state itself, which I would be completely okay with. In fact, if you vote for me, I've decided that I'm going to be running for president. In 2028. Why? Because J.D. Vance, he's anti-Semitic. J.D. Vance hates the Jews. He is taking all of his cues from the Palestinian government, pretending to take it from Israel. J.D. Vance actually hates the Jews, and we need a true, strong leader that will give all of our money, support, hearts, goals, minds, all of it to Israel, because Israel is the Holy Land. And how can you have a world? How can you have a true one world without the Holy Land at its heart? So yes, let's bomb Pakistan. Let's continue these never-ending wars. While we're at it, let's go ahead and bomb Saudi Arabia as well, because Saudi Arabia is full of Muslims, and Muslims, they don't like Jews. By the way, did I mention my wife's a doctor? Free Israel. Alrighty. Was that $50 well spent? Was that $50 well spent, Adam? You tell me. Was it worth it, son? Now H3 is bricked. Alrighty, perfect. I hope y'all enjoyed that. That was fun. Leon, are you still you? I really did channel. Did I properly channel the spirit of Ben Shapiro? All right. Let's get back. Oh, yeah, dude. You're right. If any of y'all in chat see like a little red dot appear on my forehead, let me fucking know. It doesn't mean I'm Indian. It means I'm about to be taken out. Hillary, I'm not suicidal.
Renditions of games most viewers still haven't played. It's gaming's equivalent of the Oscars if the Oscars were 90% adverts and occasionally interrupted by a Fortnite skin.
And then Adam Rabia follows up with a two-banger. Leon versus Leona debate. That would be a good bit. That'd be a bitch to film, but that would be a really good bit. I'm considering it.
And because the Game Awards evolved into this highly corporate fiasco, it ended up adopting the same compulsive habit every entertainment event developed in the late 2010s, loudly proving that it was on the right side of history, even if nobody asked. And that's where the Future Class came in, the Game Awards' shiny new initiative introduced in 2020 to show...
Dude, this came out in 2020. Why have I not... Have any of you guys in chat heard of Game Awards Future Class? Apparently they've been doing it for 4 fucking years now, and they're just cutting it this year. I'm so glad I paused on a frame of Doctor Strange, because this is strange as fuck. How have I been covering the Game Awards for so long and never even heard of this Future Class shit? This sounds like primo grifting material.
Case what it branded as a bright, bold and inclusive future of video games. On paper, it was the sort of thing that would make a certain type of LinkedIn user burst into tears of joy. A curated list of visionaries and changemakers presented with the kind of soft focus language you normally find in corporate wellness brochures.
Bro, if Cassie were black instead of Puerto Rican, would this not be her? Look at this chick in the bottom left right now. Is that not Blassie? That's Blassie. That's Black Cassie. That is cult classic coon. Right there. We are looking at cult classic coon.
in corporate wellness brochures. It was designed to look modern, to sound progressive, and to signal that the Game Awards was perfectly in sync with the cultural moment of 2020, a year when even Greggs was tweeting about social justice. Every brand was racing to rebrand itself as a moral authority.
Now, remind you, these same studios and all them that were ranting about social justice during Pride Month. Just remember, they never changed their profile pictures in the Middle East. It's quite important to remember. They don't change their profile pictures to the rainbow flag for their Middle Eastern branches.
Within that climate, the future class fits right in. It was highly photogenic, wonderfully vague, and perfectly engineered for a 2-minute inspirational montage, complete with orchestral strings and captions about the next generation.
Why would you do orchestral strings? Bro, do any of these motherfuckers they've been showing off look like they listen to orchestral music? Like, these are the same. Look at dude on the right here, right? Look at him with his particular melanin count. And realize that, yeah, he likely also didn't think that Expedition 33 should have been nominated for a Grammy.
According to its own messaging, it would spotlight underrepresented talent, offering networking opportunities, cultivate mentorship pipelines, and essentially position these individuals as the vanguard of gaming's evolving landscape. And what was really...
Now, mind you, the vanguard of gaming's evolving landscape, how many of these individuals do you think got their jobs based on merit? Like, when you look at, insert, black dude here or Indian dude here or whatnot, do you really think, oh yeah, they know how to code? Oh, the guy that came from the country that has a festival for throwing literal feces at one another? Fucking banger coder.
Really crazy was, despite the fact that everyone knew that the Game Awards was a bit of a farce, some people genuinely embraced these participation trophies. The initial reception was glowing because the industry, particularly its media class, was desperate to believe that real structural change was finally happening. Journalists applauded it, and certain types of influencers celebrated it. But of course, that moment has passed. The hashtags stopped trending.
There's our boy! There's our boy! Abu Bakr Salim, shout out. He's actually a good dude. I won't lie. I like Abu Bakr. I had some pretty, I was pretty critical of his most recent game, Dead Take. I think I gave it a 6.5 overall. He liked the tweet. He and I have had pretty good back and forth. Yeah, Abu Bakr, he's got a lot of weird beliefs, stands for a lot of shit I don't believe in, but all in all, I would actually say he's a good dude.
The industry moved on, and nobody seemed to notice that the future being hyped up in 20...
Oh, will I make a game one day? No, I don't have the skills to make a game. Now, there are other people, like if someone else wanted to make a game, and they wanted to, like, use my likeness or have it, or anything like that, like, kind of like what's going on with the Bigaverse game, absolutely. Or I would help write a game, for sure. I would help write a game because I fancy myself a writer, but I don't have the coding skills, capabilities, or anything like that. So no, I could never make a game.
20 had quietly been shoved in a storage cupboard somewhere else. Updates slowed to a crawl, and the dedicated web page for it began shrinking like it potentially owed someone some money, and eventually the whole thing simply vanished.
To be fair, it probably did owe people money. Dude, so Game Awards comes out, they make this thing called, the new class or whatever, and it's all these downtrodden, overseen ethnic individuals that the industry and the scene has not taken seriously, that all likely got their, jobs based on affirmative action hiring and DEI hiring and whatnot. Yeah, there actually probably is some money owed there.
In fact, if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't even know that it ever existed. But the truth of the matter is, the future...
I was paying attention, and I didn't know it ever existed.
Class wasn't some grand engine of change halted in its prime. It was never more than a time-specific branding exercise that fulfilled its purpose in the moment that the cameras stopped rolling. So through this...
Yo, BLM stands for Buy Large Mansions is diabolical. I can't believe I've never heard that. That's awesome.
This lens, its disappearance isn't shocking. What's shocking, though, is the fact that the gamer is still writing elegies for it in 2025. Long after the rest of the world has moved on. Game journalist Jade King, who wrote
There's our boy! There's our boy, Jade King, one of the journalists that truly helped my channel take off, because I have covered many a dog shit article by this man cosplaying as a woman. Mind you, this man cosplaying as a woman tried so fervently, fucking nearly 20 years later, to write an article about the racism of Resident Evil 5 and how problematic a remake of that game would be. Yo, hats off to Jade King for helping me on my travels, nay, on my quest to achieve true grifter status.
the article would give thoughts on the future class, commenting that, as someone who works within this industry, it was a worthwhile way of both celebrating my peers and connecting with new talent, not to mention how often it included many BIPOC and queer folks who otherwise wouldn't receive mainstream recognition like this. It was a brave highlight within a show that so often was dominated by corporate practices.
A show dominated by corporate practices. You work for the gamer. You suck corpo dick. You write articles slandering games like the Monkey King game that came out. Why am I blanking on the name of it? The point is, y'all know what I'm talking about. You write articles slandering that because Chinese corpos wouldn't take your fucking DEI nonsense. And then you praise dumb shit like Overwatch 2. Yeah, Black Myth Wukong. Thank you, Black Myth Wukong. Then you praise dumb shit like Overwatch 2 as if Blizzard actually accomplished anything with that dog shit game. What do you mean dominated by corporate practices? Like, I get it, you're a fucking trans and whatnot, and you love sucking dick even though you claim you're a woman, but you suck more corpo dick than actual human dick.
How very stunning, how very brave. They would also add that the future class was initially introduced to highlight talent in an industry where so many voices are unrepresented and...
Good. I don't care about your voice. Dude, just like the guy, let's paint a picture for y'all. Let's paint a picture for y'all, all right? New Quentin Tarantino movie comes out. All right? And we're stoked for it because Quentin Tarantino is the fucking man, okay? I don't want to hear the voice of the fucking person that did the costuming for the movie. I don't give a fuck about their voice. They're good at their job, and I want to see their work represented on the screen. I don't give a fuck what they got to say. So yeah, if you black, you queer, you Palestinian, you fucking trans, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck what you guys say. Make a good goddamn game. Let your work speak for itself, and shut the fuck up, because odds are nobody cares what you have to say.
In doing so, connect them with a new community, job opportunities and more. It was a valiant cause that in its first 3 years, at the very least, seemed to be viewed quite positively. Future Class was an uplifting initiative with admirable goals, so much so that I wanted to nominate not only friends, but people in the industry around my age who deserved more recognition. Due to the fact...
Oh yeah, have you seen the state of modern gaming, at least in the AAA space? None of your friends deserve that recognition.
That the writers seem to have wanted to use this farce to help platform their friends into perceived positions of power. The article treats the end of the future class with all the gravity of Rome collapsing into the sea. As if this glossy little pandemic-era PR exercise marked the beginning of some enlightened new age rather than what it so obviously was, a flimsy...
Dude, hold on, these look like Flash games. Watch these. We're supposed to be celebrating. Yeah, they look like Flash games. Games we could have been able to play on a web browser in 1998. Is that the best that you Islamic or Indian or whatever countries can come up with your lacks of technology? Games look like something we could have played on the Cartoon Network website in 1998. Watch this shit.
Enlightened new age rather than...
He's cheering because he put a fucking pixelated fish in a pixelating frying pan.
What it so obviously was, a flimsy, algorithm-approved trinket from a very, very brief cultural moment when corporations pretended to care about your identity because it made the quarterly reports look compassionate, all while quietly calculating how much they could squeeze out of you in the process. Unsurprisingly, once the cultural moment had passed, so...
All right, yo, hold on. To be fair... Solantis says shovelware games came with cereals 20 years ago. Fuck you. Chex Quest is a goddamn masterpiece. Alright, Chex Quest was the shit. I will take no Chex Quest disrespect. Also, I remember years ago, we talking like 25, maybe even more years ago, Taco Bell had a fucking promo where if you got like a kids meal or whatever, you got a Taco Bell themed computer game where you were using Taco Bell powers to fight like obstacles on the moon, and that shit was fucking awesome.
The Game Awards initiative. After its disappearance, even the alumni seemed baffled. One day they were listed as the future of the industry, and the next they'd been Thanos snapped out of the brand's identity. Still, out of those who had won the so-called Game Awards, a few felt confused that the initiative ended, a few felt they hadn't gained anything from it, and so...
Yes, you're right. The initiative never rolled for initiative because there was no traction, there was no motion. Who's this dude on the screen? Who's fucking Bismarcky looking motherfucker right here? Nobody knows because we don't care. People that make video games aren't rock stars. They're not fucking directors. They're not Hollywood actors. We don't give a shit what you got to say. You're not gonna get anything from it. It was some fucking safe PR thing to make you feel like they were pretending to give a shit about you. Yeah, you're not gonna gain any notoriety from a 2-minute montage shown at the Game Awards that honestly people use an excuse to get off stream and run to the bathroom real quick. Sorry, Bismarcky.
Several realised they were essentially invited to a photo shoot, not a mentorship program. One alumnus described the long-term impact of the future class as a Discord server, which is unintentionally poetic. Nothing
Discord server. Speaking of, become a member. Join the Discord.
Represents corporate commitment to progress like being dumped into a group chat with strangers and no follow through. And that's the truth. The initiative didn't collapse because of injustice or betrayal. It collapsed because it was never built to achieve anything. It was an optics branding accessory, something created to make the show look socially conscious during a specific cultural wave. And once that wave receded, the initiative shrank and the updates dried up. And
because nobody gives... dude, this is why I love capitalism, right? Because here's the dealio. Capitalism don't always bet on the right horse. Sometimes you think shit gonna make money, and it doesn't. But when it stops making money, you move the fuck on. And guess what? That's how it should be. These clowns should, yeah, the Game Awards, okay, alright, this is gonna get us money, this is gonna get us motion, this is gonna get us sponsors and whatnot, because we're out here doing the games for change, this future foundation products, or what the fuck ever. And when they realize it doesn't make money, they're gonna move on. Because that's what they are. This is a business. People are in business to make fucking money. And if nobody gives a shit about, this Pajit's game, ain't making money off that. Time to move on. Good. That's how it should be. You're not owned anything, Mr. Patel.
Facade evaporated exactly the way you'd expect it to, from something created for presentation rather than purpose. As for Jeff, the man who leads the awards, he isn't some kind of activist, a mentor, or a spiritual guide of gaming's next generation. He's the ever-smiling, ever-neutral host of a giant...
Jeff's a clown. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a clown. That's why I'm here on fucking YouTube making videos. I'm dancing for all these motherfuckers. It's okay to be a clown. We the modern day court jesters. But let's be real. If it was 2005, Jeff Keighley would be like a C-rate host on a G4 show. Okay? Jeff Keighley would be the guy that Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb break from to go to interview some indie dev for 30 seconds so they could pretend like they cared about indie scenes in 2005.
Marketing spectacle, a man who has somehow mastered the rare skill of being enthusiastically passionate about complete corporate bullshit. His entire livelihood depends on maintaining good relationships with every major publisher on the planet.
I just realized he even looks like he still dresses like it's 2005. Hold on, Jeff Keighley, look at him. Look at him.
It depends on maintaining good relationships.
Right? Look at him here. What year was this? All right. We got Halo, the Halo Mountain Dew. Oh, Halo 4. What year was Halo 4, dude? I know it wasn't 2005. Why he still look like he's dressing like 2005? Again, no shame. Get that bag, Keighley. But let's be real about what he is.
relationships with every major publisher on the planet. The awards show is built on spectacle. Raw, industrial strength spectacle, the kind that pulls in millions of viewers and sells sponsorship slots and convinces publishers that announcing a logo at Jeff's show is worth more than any press conference they could organise themselves. The Game Awards is essentially the Super Bowl of game marketing. Except the halftime show is just 3 minutes of explosions, followed by someone announcing a remake, and there's nothing wrong with...
Bro, the halftime show is a bunch of explosions and someone announcing a remake. So fucking real. Like, that might be the hardest bar of this video so far.
That particularly, people tune in because it's a giant hype machine. But does that mean the show's priorities are less uplift their so-called underrepresented voices and more, can we get Keanu Reeves to say something meme-worthy again? In that ecosystem, the future class never stood a chance.
Nah, Keanu Reeves is so 3 years ago. Guys, this is the Game Awards 2025. We need motherfucking Pedro Pascal, alright?
You can practically imagine the internal pitch deck. Trailer reveals, check. Celebrity cameos, check. Publisher partnerships, check. A vaguely defined mentorship scheme that generates no revenue and no hype? Yeah, that bullet point isn't making it past slide 3, is it? The Game Awards thrives on adrenaline, not accountability. It rewards the glossy surface of the industry, but not the dull administrative underside where mentorship programs live and die. So, of course, it got shelved. Of course, the website disappeared. Of course, nobody announced a new cohort. It was the equivalent...
Scotty G nails it. Does anyone unironically watch the Game Awards? I feel like it's just content for people to make videos. That's what I'll be doing. Dude, me and the SNH crew, we're going to be streaming the Game Awards all from our own individual channels, but together. Like, it's basically going to be Saturday Night Hypnosis, but all of us together on our own individual channels. The reason I'm telling you all this is so you can watch my version, not Hypno's version. Sorry, love you, Hypno, love you, but Grifter got a grift, you know. So yeah, on December 12th, or whatever day the Game Awards are, I'm pretty sure it's December 12th, make sure you guys are here, sending me super chats and shit like that. But yeah, no, Scotty G's 100% correct. That's what it is. Like, nobody, and to be fair, there are people that unironically watch the Game Awards. And you want to know how I know those people that unironically watch the Game Awards? Because when I watch, I shit you not, this is a true story, I watched the Sony State of Play, not this most recent one, but the one before that. You had dumb motherfuckers sending super chats to the Sony State of Play. Why? It's not a YouTuber. It's not a fucking internet personality. They're not gonna stop the show to read your super chat. Are you fucking high? Who is sending super chats to the Sony State of Play? Those are the people that will unironically watch the Game Awards and think that it actually means something.
Of placing a potted plant on the Formula One track and then being shocked when it doesn't survive the first lap. And this is where the wider industry context becomes almost comical, because if there's one thing American AAA gaming excels at, it's putting on gigantic self-congratulatory spectacles while quietly abandoning every value those spectacles loudly claim to stand for. This is the same industry that will chant diversity matters during a live stream and then lay off half its staff in January. The same industry that will produce a trailer about elevating new voices, then stick its next generation of talent in a Discord server and forget to turn on notifications. There's nothing tragic about this story, it's a predictable one. And the fact that The Gamer is writing about it like an empire has fallen tells you everything you need to know about how outdated...
The Game Awards doesn't care about the future of video games. Actually, ironically enough, as useless as the Game Awards is, as meaningless as the Game Awards are, I would disagree with this statement. The Game Awards does, in fact, care about the future of video games. Because if the future of video games goes down the shitter, they don't have a show, i.e. they can't make money. So the Game Awards needs video gaming to actually get good again, so that the game industry is thriving, so that they can continue to make money. That's why they're getting rid of this dumb shit, because people don't fucking care anymore. Like, I don't want to give Jeff Keighley of the Game Awards any actual credit because it is just a corporate circle jerk. But they do care about the future of video games, specifically because that if it is gone, no money.
Their ideological lens has become, and its removal is a sign of how completely the ideological climate of the industry has shifted. Over the last few years, we've seen a very clear trend. Companies rolling back DEI commitments, studios quietly retiring diversity teams that were created during the 2020 cultural panic, and audiences overwhelmingly rejecting moralistic branding in favour of, well, games that are actually good. In fact,
You know that it was an intentional choice on her side editing to put Stellar Blade in there when she said games that are actually good. Well done.
Surveys show that upwards of 90% of players now prioritise quality over messaging. The Overton window has moved, and it hasn't moved in the direction that the gamer wants it to have moved. The outlet is essentially mourning something the public has already mentally filed away alongside NFTs and the metaverse.
Not only have we mentally filed it away, we didn't know about it to file it away, because we're gamers. We didn't give a fuck. Dude, alright. I've been absolutely loving Mullet Mad Jack. I've talked about this game on multiple streams up to this point, right? Mullet Mad Jack. I got no fucking idea who made the game. I don't know if it was a dude. I don't know if it was a broad. I don't know if it was a whitey. I don't know if it was a Pajit. Whatever. If you told me a fucking gay Muslim woman made Mullet Mad Jack, I wouldn't give a fuck. Why? Because the game is awesome. Now, if you had then, instead, before I knew about the game, if you had put that gay Muslim woman on some sort of, like, Game Awards, like interview stage, or gave her 2 minutes to talk or some shit, I guarantee you she said some dumb shit that would have made me not buy the game, and I would have missed out on how awesome it was. Now, again, to be fair, Mullet Mad Jack, probably made by a straight white dude. Like, if you play the game, you'll know what I mean. It's very anti all the shit that we're anti. Like, it makes the uncouth jokes. It makes fun of modern PC culture, shit like that. So it probably wasn't made by a gay Muslim woman. But the point that I'm making is that the less I know about you and how fucking retarded you are, and you let the game speak for itself, the more likely you are to be successful. Catch you later, UAF Omega.
The positive push of identity politics is seen by most as a dying trend from a different era. It's also worth noting that cynicism isn't rising because people are jaded, it's rising because people are paying attention. But this is all just a part of the story, as apparently we need to talk about Gaza as well. Recently, the so-called future class walked headfirst into a political firestorm that no corporate PR department on earth was ever going to touch. Because in late 2023, the future class alumni, the very people the Game Awards had platformed, chose to draft an open letter demanding that the Game Awards take an explicit geopolitical stance on Gaza, describing the situation as genocide, calling for a public statement of solidarity and urging Jeff Keighley to break his carefully curated neutrality live on air in front of millions of viewers. And just to be clear, this wasn't a mild or symbolic request. It was a direct demand for one of the most sponsor-sensitive, industry-entangled events in gaming to wade into one of the most emotionally charged and internationally contentious political conflicts of the century.
Now, let's think about this. You're sponsorship heavy. Exactly. Imagine you got fucking Coca-Cola, right? You approach Coca-Cola. We want you to be the drink of the Game Awards. Classic Coke. Refreshing. Right? We are approaching you to give you the opportunity. You sponsor us. You pay to be there. And we'll plaster Coca-Cola in front of every video game. Video games are the largest entertainment industry in the world. You're going to make billions. Caveat. We are going to talk about how much we hate Jews and how much Muslim rapists are fucking awesome. That's a hell of a sales pitch.
Now, here is where it gets even more telling. Less than half of the future class members signed the letter, and several openly refused, with one going so far as to describe the letter's claims as misinformation and one-sided. Suddenly, this supposedly unified cohort of the industry's future was very publicly splitting along ideological lines. And instead of representing progress or harmony or anything remotely photogenic, the future class was now at risk of becoming a full-blown political liability. Not for some edgy indie collective, but for a show whose entire existence depends on appearing safe, neutral, and sponsor-friendly. And this is where Jeff Keighley's role becomes almost comically clear, because Jeff isn't an activist, a reformer, or the spiritual voice of gaming's next generation. He is a professional hype curator.
A professional hype curator. Based. Yes, correct.
His livelihood depends on maintaining immaculate relationships with every publisher on the planet. This is a man who once removed Activision from the show in the wake of the 2021 harassment scandal, only to admit later that the removal was actually a joint decision between Activision and us. A phrase which, translated into normal human language, means nobody was actually punished and both sides agreed on the optics. Jeff doesn't take moral stances unless the corporations involved have pre-approved the messaging in a color-coded Google Doc.
Alright, I'm going to comment on that, but first, Chimpus Universe for a 5-banger. I Can Fix the Game Awards, less grifting, more tight dresses, the occasional plantain throw, oh, and actually good games. Boom, I'll send my invoice.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
Bring back Booth Babes. The 4 Bs. Y'all know on this channel we got the 3 Bs. Bingo, bango, bongo. We got the 4 Bs now. Bring back Booth Babes. You'll love to see it. Shout out Chimpus Universe. Now, back to what she said about him being a curator of her pre-approved messaging and whatnot. Exactly. However, a gaming company, Activision, Treyarch, Bethesda, whatever, they can say they want XYZ, but even if they say they want it, Jeff still can't just sign off on it because he has to make sure all the sponsors and shit also agree with that. Like, he's like, hey, who's he going to side? He's going to side with Monster Energy Drink, who's probably paying God knows how many millions of dollars to have sponsorship slots there. Or is he going to say yes to Bethesda, who their games are already going to be there anyway, so it's not like he's getting any extra money from them. So yeah, he's actually more, he has to cater to the sponsors before he ever caters to the companies espousing their political nonsense. Demon Carol for a 2-banger. We need to get a banana toss at the Game Awards. Agreed. Banana toss. And if somebody tries to claim it's racist, say no, we're supporting Mario Kart World.
That is a level of neutrality that we are dealing with here. At the end of the day, the Game Awards is just about making money, right? So the optics are only going to be important if Jeff Keighley thinks that it's going to result in making more money. Imagine just for a moment the Future Class alumni sending that Gaza letter to him, a loose coalition of young creatives suddenly demanding that he jump on stage, stare down the camera and deliver a passionate political statement in the middle of a show bankrolled by Amazon, Activision, Microsoft, Tencent, Sony, Bandai Namco and every other multinational conglomerate with a shareholder sensitivity level somewhere between skittish and permanently terrified.
Brought about coming in with a $1.49 super sticker, throwing a banana. You love to see it. Throw all the bananas at these bitches. We're gonna litter the game stage with these bananas.
There is no universe in which Jeff Keighley would ever risk that. He wouldn't risk it,
Thank you, by the way,
even if there were no
Prime Pound.
sponsors at
Thank
all.
you.
This is a man who avoids controversy the way people avoid drinking bleach. And so the moment the Future Class became a political pressure group rather than a decorative slideshow, it became a liability. And the moment it became a liability was the moment it became terminal. It was retired because the initiative had mutated into exactly what corporations fear most. A group of people acting under their brand name without their permission, expressing political...
I don't know who this guy is. Like, I've never seen him. I don't know what game he works on. I don't know anything. But he looks like the type of dude that would say it's not gay to fuck a tranny. Like, that's just the general fucking vibe I'm getting from him.
demands they cannot control in a climate where even one poorly worded sentence can trigger international outrage. The moment the future class dipped its toes into the Gaza conflict, the countdown began. So the initiative wasn't abandoned, it was euthanized. And the funniest part is that while all of this was happening, the cultural tides were already turning. The Overton window has shifted so dramatically that even the public, who were once expected to clap for every diversity announcement, like seals at feeding time, had started making their priorities clear. Surveys now show that more than 95% of gamers consider inclusivity messaging less important than game quality.
Who'd have thought? 95. I'm surprised it's that low. Only 95% of gamers don't care about DEI slop. The other 5%, I don't think are gamers. Or they're so locked into their fucking leftist liberal bubble, they're terrified to admit that they're not like the other 95%.
Studios across the Western entertainment landscape have been quietly rolling back their DEI departments, and audiences are increasingly vocal about wanting actual competence instead of moral theatre. It's not that people turned against diversity, it's that they stopped believing corporations ever meant any of it in the first place, because the reality is that they didn't. And anyone with half a brain already knew this. When you lay all of the information out side by side, the Gaza letter, the corporate's panic, the cultural shift, the decline...
Hold on, I'm going to roll this back. So, forget for a moment that we're watching a YouTube video. Just focus on Jeff Keighley's mouth and pretend he's saying these words like it's a bad Godzilla dub, and it's fucking hilarious. Hold on, watch this.
And anyone with half a brain already knew this.
Starting now.
When you lay all of the information out side by side, the Gaza letter, the corporate's panic, the cultural shift, the...
Is that not just such a great mental image? Like just Jeff Keighley with this fucking posh British female voice coming out like a bad Godzilla dub. It made me happy.
Line of DEI as a branding tool, and the stark contrast between symbolic activism and tangible contribution, the story becomes incredibly simple. The article treats the loss of it like a Shakespearean tragedy, yet the future class was never designed to build the future, it was designed to decorate the present. And once a decorative value expired, the whole thing was quietly placed in the recycling bin, where all corporate trends eventually do go. And that brings us to the inevitable question: what did people expect to happen? Because the more you look at how this initiative played out...
Oh, look at that! Ontario, Canada! You know whatever game coming out of there gonna fucking suck!
Clearer it becomes that the future class was never designed to propel anyone into stardom, and this is where the article is unintentionally hilarious. It imagines a chorus of objections, arguments about platforms, follow-ups, and long-term mentorship, as if any of this was ever part of a serious organisational plan. The Game Awards is a massive marketing event. Its job is to generate hype, celebrity moments, and publisher goodwill, not to...
Best fighting game, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Didn't give a fuck about any of the rest of those. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero FT dubs. I know this was last year. I don't even remember if it won or not, but if it didn't, it should have.
Run a permanent career support program for people chosen.
Matt Funkel is Leon. Will we ever have great games again? We have great games now. We have lots of great games now. Again, I mean, just off the top of my head, we've got obviously Expedition 33, Silk Song, Mullet Mad Jack. I've been really going ham on Goat Simulator 3, and I ain't even front. I really fucking enjoy it. Again. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, not Persona, the fucking video game that was made by the same people that made Persona. I'm blanking. Metaphor Reef Fantasio, recently came out. I mean, again, not Lost Souls, Forgotten Souls. Forgotten Souls, Death, Flesh Made Fear has been great. I mean, yeah, we've got great games now. Some of them are AAA, not very many. Others are indies, you gotta look for them. But no, we've got great games. It's this DEI infection into an industry that needs to be expunged, and it's slowly happening, which is why we need to talk about more than ever, because we cannot rest on it, all right? Sunlight is the best disinfectant. You gotta get it out there completely. 100% out of there. Send them all back to Mickey D's. Fries in the bag. all the memes. Why? Because if you leave, think about like Dragon Ball, right? Dragon Ball, Cell, best villain, right? Cell comes out there and he fucking clowns on Goku. Goku sends out Gohan. Gohan blows, Gohan, beats the fuck out of him. Cell self-destructs. And then one single cell is left alive. One single cell is left alive from his nucleus, and he's able to completely reform. That's why we can't even let one single cell survive, because we don't need this shit reforming, reinfecting. We need to pull a father-son Kamehameha on the industry and wipe out every last cell of this DEI nonsense.
Because they fit a diversity brand strategy in 2020. The idea that Jeff Keighley should become everyone's career manager is adorable, but it's also ridiculous. His entire world revolves around keeping megacorps happy enough to drop exclusive trailers on his stage. The Future Class was incompatible with that reality from the moment it launched, and pretending otherwise is how you end up writing overwrought think pieces about a PR initiative that was destined to vanish. So,
now mind you, an overwrought think piece because this is a dude that wrote this, is a dude cosplaying a woman, an overwrought think piece that this dude cosplaying as a woman probably got $20 to write that nobody read, and it's only being used as content to make fucking fun of them by people like Lady Decade and myself here. Was it worth it?
here's the simple truth. The future of gaming was never going to emerge from corporate initiatives designed for blue sky applause. It's going to come from the people who actually do the work, the creators, the developers, the modders, the volunteers, the ones shaping the medium, trying to make games people actually want to play when the cameras aren't rolling and the hashtags aren't trending. Never get distracted by who ends up in a montage, but instead pay attention to who's actually building things. And don't forget that you can use my links to grab a massive discounts on Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, Silent Hill F with 42% off, Stellar Blade with 39% off, and thousands more. Or if you want a break from modern releases altogether, why not check out my upload on the ridiculous Star Trek console over on Lady Arcade. Or if you really want to support me in a more personal way, you can access my behind the scenes cosplay library and more by becoming a backer over on Patreon. I'll see you all again very soon.
Yeah, excellent video. Excellent video. I'll link it to you guys in the chat right now. You'll love to see it. This, I couldn't be happier. I didn't even know this thing existed, right? Nobody knew this existed because it didn't fucking matter. It was dumb. It was retarded. It was garbage. It was just, it's a fucking DEI showcase that nobody paid attention to because it doesn't actually generate any revenue. It doesn't generate any hype. If anything, I see people in a showcase like that, I'm more likely to not buy the game. It's like, oh, you signed on for basically what is DEI promotion at the Game Awards? I know your game's gonna suck, because if you're a DEI hire, it means you weren't hired on merit, which means you probably didn't produce an actual quality product. It's that simple. So yeah, seeing the Game Awards shelve this, and then seeing people throw a fit about it, and then trying to claim they need to have a moment of silence for Gaza, all this shit's funny as fuck to me. All this shit's funny as fuck. Yes, give us a moment of silence for Gaza. Give us a moment of silence for Israel. Do both. Do it back to back. Your boy would grift so fucking hard.